Sharon White's mad at me because actually, Sharon, it's Goldie's fault because I can't see you over Goldie's head there. You said there were several things that you wanted to add earlier in the day.
No, I'm just such a talker, Bill. I've had to sit on my hands and keep quiet. I wanted to put in on every story I heard, just about.
There was one in particular you mentioned to me.
I did. I told you about, the song that Jim had sung earlier that Johnny Russell wrote.
Yeah,
Ain't You Even Gonna Cry? He wrote that. He got the idea for that song from my little girl, Molly. Molly was about 3 years old, I guess, 2 or 3 years old, and Johnny was over at Mom and Daddy's. Mom and Daddy live across the street from the church, and I think we'd all been to church and went over at Mama's for coffee. And as everyone would leave, Rosie left for a while, and Molly cried. I had to get her calmed back down, and then Cheryl had to leave, go home, and she cried again. And I had to calm her back down. So come time Johnny was going to leave, and he started out the door, and Molly just stayed on the floor just playing along. And he looked back, and he said, "Ain't you even going to cry?" And I saw this twinkle come in his eye, and we said, we're saying bye to him, but it was like he was out of there, He had that song on his mind. He was already, the wheels were rolling,
That's a great story. Cheryl, you've been awfully quiet.
I've been soaking it up, wiping tears a few times. There's been some great things I've heard today. A lot of stuff I'd never heard, so I've really enjoyed it. We feel so fortunate to be a part of this family and be around this circle. It means so much to us that we just, we don't want to miss anything.
Well, you're a big part of it. Could we get a song out of the Whites? Bud, Sharon, and Cheryl?
Yeah, we probably got one.
Oh, that's right, movie stars now. That's right.
Bonafide.
Has that affected your career?
All we care about is just whether we get a check or not. But
I
we're
doubt
family
that.
oriented, as you can tell. We got they have 2 younger sisters, and they sing too. And my wife sang when I met her. She was singing. Her dad played the fiddle, and her couple of brothers have played music, and they let me into their family, and I didn't realize it was all going to wind up here because the kind of music I was playing back then was beer halls and dances down there in Texas, and had no idea where it'd wind up, but would have never done it if it hadn't been for the family, And
being in the movie, the "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," where y'all did "Keep on the Sunny Side," how has that affected your career? Do people look at you any differently now than they did before that?
It's been a definite boost to our career. We've worked more this year. We just had gotten where we didn't travel very much. A few years after we made members of the Opry, our kids, it seemed like we needed to be home at the same time the career was slowing down, and we were at the Opry and loved being there, and we'd done so much traveling. You know how tiresome it is, so I don't care if I smell diesel fumes another time. But the Lord's been so good to us, and the door's open for us to get to sing a great song with a great message in a movie and on the soundtrack, and so we've done a concert at the Ryman that became a documentary that came out after the movie, "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" And then we did a Carnegie Hall concert with all the people from the soundtrack. And now in the next year, we're going to do a month-long tour with all the folks from the soundtrack. It's really been a boost to everybody that sings our kind of music. And that's what's been so thrilling to see. Not just the people in the movie, but the music in general. Young people are being turned on to the old-time music and real country music, and that has thrilled us to pieces to be a part of that. And the Coen brothers wanted to do that. They wanted to honor the music, and they did, and so we're so thankful.
And it's risen above the charts because so many radio stations didn't even play out of the album, and yet the album has been the biggest album of the last year.
That's right.
Which is a real credit to that kind of music.
WSM can't say that, though. These
No,
fellas have played that thing. They've been great.
How about a song?
Country. They're 2 country.
I'm proud of it.
We've always been 2 country.
And proud of it.
I always said there's one way, the only way you could be 2 countries, whether you track it in the house or not.
If you're raised in the country, you understand that.
How about a song from the Whites?
We'd love to sing one. We'll do this one. hanging around, hoping you get lonely. I'm hanging around, though you say we're through. You're telling me now that you never miss me, but I'm hanging around just in case you do. I wanna be beside you every step you take, and every time you turn around I'll be in your way, all over you like poison ivy. You get the itch, that's when you find me here to stay. I'm hanging around, hoping you get lonely. I'm hanging around, though you say we're through. You're telling me now that you never miss me, but I'm hanging around just in case you do.
Look out, look out, look out.
I'll be the melody that haunts your mind, stuck in your memory like a nursery rhyme. You take a fall like Humpty Dumpty. If it takes a month of Sundays, I've got time hanging around, hoping you get lonely. I'm hanging around, though you say we're through. You're telling me now that you never miss me, but I'm hanging around just in case you do. I'm hanging around just in case you do.
Well, that's some band.
I hear you, Billy Ed.
Boy, it didn't play that like I did. Much better.
George Hamilton IV talking a while ago about Ernest Tubb and your early connections in Nashville. You actually had your first success as a rock and roll teenage heartthrob, didn't you?
Well, I started out, obviously, from the story I told about hanging around the Opry, wanting to be a country singer. And my first record, of all things, was a teen ballad. It wasn't a country song. There's a fellow over in North Carolina named Andy Griffith who came from just a few miles up the road from where I was born. And Andy had a big hit record called What It Was Football. Anybody remember that? That's what started his career. And I checked around a little bit on that and found out he had recorded it for a little record company in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. A newspaper publisher down there named Orville Campbell discovered Andy and recorded What It Was Football, which led to him going to Broadway and No Time for Sergeants and all that. So in 1956, I was a freshman at the University of North Carolina, and I knew that Andy started there and that Mr. Orville Campbell at the newspaper gave him his big break. So I used to go down to Mr. Campbell's office about 3 times a week and encourage him to let me make a record. And I guess I was pestering him because one day I got a phone call at Alexander Dorm, and the phone rang, and I answered, and he said, "Is this George Hamilton?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "This is Orville Campbell down at the Colonial Press, Colonial Records, too." He said, "You know, kid, you don't sing so good, but you're the most persistent young man I've ever met." And he said, "I figure anybody with that much determination ought to get a break, so I'm going to make a record with you." And I found a great little song. A fellow named John D. Loudermilk from Durham wrote it. And I went down, and I didn't like the song at all because I had my heart set on being with the Opry, you know, and it wasn't a country song. So on June the 18th, 1956, 45 years ago, last year, I guess, we went into the studio in a little radio station in North Carolina and recorded my first record. And that's really how I came to the Opry, even though it was a teen ballad. I got to sing it here on stage, right here.
I was a teenager then.
But you'll have to admit it takes a whole lot of nerve for somebody at my age and stage to even attempt to sing a song about a high school romance in a teenage choir.
Well, you're back on the stage at the Ryman. You need to do it again.
Okay, fella. Y'all ready? A Rose and a Baby Ruth. We had a quarrel, a teenage quarrel, teenage. Now I'm as blue as I know how to be. I can't call you on the phone. I can't even see you at your home. So I'm sending you this present just to prove I was telling the truth. Dear, I believe you won't laugh when you receive this rose and a baby. I could have sent you an orchid of some kind, but that's all I had in my jeans at the time. But when we grow up heavy lyric, someday I'll show up just to prove I was telling the truth. I'll kiss you too, then I'll hand to you this rose and a baby Ruth. Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. Did you notice Dale watched him so he didn't put Doodaloo on the end of it? Doodaloo did.
I have that record.
You got the copyright on Doodaloo.
That's right.
I have a copy of that record in my record collection. I sure do.
I got a copy wrong on A.
Ferlin, were you the first? I know you were one of the first, but were you the first major star that began imitating and parodying the other country singers?
I don't think so, really.
Who did it before you?
Somebody, I'm sure. I guess.
On record, there was a guy that did Gene Autry and several others. You remember his name? I know you know
Dave
him.
Landers.
That's it.
Out of St.
That's it.
Louis was one.
Never heard of him.
But
Never heard of him.
well, he didn't. I don't know what he's doing now. But anyhow, I guess. But everybody, infectious. Some people is, so you want to imitate them, And when I was just a kid, with Lum and Abner and all that, I say, that dog is Abner. Huh?
Bill, I got to tell this story.
What did you cut the hole in the screen door for? What hole you talking about, Lum? The hole in that screen door. Well, Lum, you told me when you left that when you got back you wanted to see all the flies out.
Erlen used to go on stage, and of course he'd steal the show. And I'm with Red Foley and Ernest Tubb and a bunch of us, and they said, "Ferlin, you're doing too long. You got to cut it down." He said, "Come on." He got me and Tommy Williams in the car, and he went down to the drugstore. And he bought one of these big old alarm clocks like this, and he set it for 20 minutes. When he went on, he pulled that alarm up. When that 20 minutes went off, he was right in the middle of some song. He said, "I gotta go." He shut the alarm off and left.
I wasn't taking anybody else's time then.
Where did the idea for Simon Crumb come from?
Well, actually, it was a man's name that was like a uncle to us that lived across the creek from us when I was a kid, and I used to call him Uncle Simon. But really, how it got started was when we were in the war, when for the invasion of France. And we'd have a mine alert or a air attack or whatever, and I was scareder than anybody else was, you know. But I'd tell them stories, you know, try to build a morale up, you know. And so, and I would tell stories, and it got to where some of them were true stories. And then it got to where and I'd talk about Simon, but his last name was Crump, C-R-U-M-P. Anyhow, I'd tell them stories. Then it got to where every time they get a little alert or scared or whatever, they'd say, "Hey, tell us this." Hey, country, they called me, you know, weekly, because my name was Husky and I wasn't that big, you know. So they said, tell us the Simon story, you know. So I just make up everything. Then when later on, when I got going to disc jockey out in Bakersfield, I'd been doing that character voice since I was just a child, you know. And I was doing 4 or 5 different voices on the air, like some people in the past do, you know. They got uncles and cousins or whatever, you know, different characters. But Simon was the strongest, you know. So, and I just knocked the P out of Crump and called it Crumb, you know. So that's, you know. Well, anyhow, so that's about the way it was, yeah.
Well, Simon
But now I
Crumb
tell you, one of my great admirers, which it makes me proud to say this, that Jim Neighbors, which you all know, I was doing that. I mean, he came to see me in Chattanooga, and he come up to see me, and he'd tell me that he heard me here on the Opry and all. And then later, I ran into him. He says, "Want to know if I remembered him?" And I said, I guess so, you know. He said, then he started talking more like Simon, you know. And he said, this had fascinated him, you know, Simon. So his voice was something like that anyhow, but his regular singing was different, you know. But I'm glad I ain't like him, though, you know. No, I do like the guy. I'm proud, you know. But like I said, we all learn from some things that I do. Now I learned from somebody, maybe once. Do you guys shave? I mean, once in a while, have you ever shaved? And all of a sudden you seen your father. I mean, you know, you understand, or if you're a girl, you're putting makeup on. You see your mother or your aunt or somebody. So that's, yeah. It's just right there, you know. So, but well, that's about. But how? Anyhow, one thing led me to the next, and then. But I was doing it on the radio there in Bakersfield, where I helped get Buck Owens a contract with Capitol. Thank you, Buck. No, I felt real proud of that, and I helped Tommy Collins and different ones. Chester Smith, which you knew very well. And out of 7 people I helped get with Capitol Records, 5 of them made #1 hits and made a name for themselves. So that's pretty good, you know, I thought. Yeah.
Simon Crumb ended up having some big hit records, and I know every time you would do Simon on the stage, you had to have the hat. So pass the hat down the front.
Can I stand up?
Absolutely.
Now this about country music. Listen, you know where I got the idea for this? Was Elvis was happening, and Rock Around the Clock and things was happening. And the country music at that point wasn't selling a whole lot. Hank Snow and everybody behind this old walls here, everybody would bump into each other and they'd say, "What do you think of country music?" One would say, "Well, I don't know, it's going out. What am I going to do next?" And all this. Everybody was in the same rut or the records as far as country songs. And I said to Rod Bradsfield, I said, "What do you think of country music, Hoss?" He said, "By Ned, I believe it's here to stay." And I went home and wrote the song. Anyhow, is that what you want?
Absolutely.
Big record for Simon.
There he is. You take my jacket off?
There he is.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. What do you girls think? I usually do it with a guitar. But anyhow, I don't have a guitar. No, I used to have one, but I seen it in the pawn shop across the street. No, I don't. I haven't seen it. I can't hold it, honest, on account of my arthritis, I swear. But thank you. I just wanted to see if y'all was as generous as y'all used to be when I was. You ain't changed a bit. Give me about the Canadian key, Jimmy. Hi, Doggies Abner. Oh, hand me the screwdriver. What do you want it for, Lum? I want to fix the dad blame radio. Well, if you get it fixed, you more than probably can't get any country music. I don't know, Abner. There's still a few of us left. Yeah, for instance, well, there's Ernest Tubb, Kitty Wells, Webb Pierce, and a whole bunch of others. No kidding. Did I mention about the radio getting fixed? Yeah. Okay. I don't get hush, Abner. It's working. What's working? The radio, WSM or whatever they call it. More and more every day, I hear more people say, country music, that's the kind for me. And O.E.T., it's the kind that's sincere. And to me it's been so dear. And no other kind can take its place, you say. Oh, Kitty, that wonderful stuff. I don't care what people say. Other kinds may come and go, as grateful you, but good old country music's here to stay. Well, they call it a silver thing for the way that we sing, but I don't care what they say or do. There are songs of all sorts, but country music's from the heart. Son, I agree with you. Oh, Kitty. Kitty, now that wonderful stuff. I don't care what people say. Other kinds may come and go, just ask the little ranger, Hank Snow. But good old country music's here to stay. Oh, yeah, you're thinking for that.
You did that on purpose.
He went to sleep while I was singing.
I was not asleep. I was enjoying you. Another nice round of applause for Furlan Husky, everybody.
Thank you, Jimmy.
You got your new fishing hat, too.
That hat fall on you.
Yeah, it hit me right in the face.
I told you some of that stuff's infectious. You know? It's catchy.
I rode on an unforgettable bus trip from Nashville, Tennessee to Miami, Florida with Simon Crumb one time.
I remember.
It was unforgettable. That's all I'm going to say.
I was in the back seat of a car riding through Michigan, and Simon Crumb and Furlan Husky got into a fight and had to get out of the car. And I think you beat him, Furlan.
On the bus
We
trip,
got out in the snowbank up in Montana. We drove 15 miles, and Furlan threw Simon out of the car. We drove 15 miles, had to go back and get him.
well, we did that on the way to Miami. It was 50 miles. 50 miles. Had to go back and get Simon.
Actually, when I played with him and Hank Lachlan and Goldie's husband Carl Smith down in Pensacola, he was Simon was sitting on next to the window. See, but I really, Ferlin, I didn't really know about Simon, and honest, I didn't. He was, I mean, just carrying her. I told you next time. I said, I don't believe this fella's right over there. And do you remember, Ferlin, my daughter was in the airport,
right?
And we were looking at signs the next time I saw you. And what did she say? She said,
Tupelo, but she called it something.
Tupelo.
Yeah, the same thing I called it.
Said, Daddy,
before.
where's Tupelo? And so Ferlin said, boy, she must not live, which she was born in Montana. I said, no, she's not from Mississippi, because I'm from. I said, honey, it's Tupelo. And she said, where's Tupelo?
Well, I'd heard other people call it that before.
Yeah.
On some of our tours, Ferlin was having T. Texas Tyler, Red Foley, everybody talking to Simon Crumb. But Ernest Tubb wouldn't do it.
No,
he said, no.
Ernest.
One morning we got in the bed at 4:45 and got up at 4:45 to go on to the next date. And me and Judy Lynn was going down the elevator, and Ernest got on, and Ernest hadn't felt no pain the night before. We got off the elevator, and there was an elevator operator. Well, it wasn't a push button thing.
Yeah.
So we walked ahead, and all of a sudden Ernest turned around and said, come on, Simon, get out of there.
Yeah, he was talking to him.
So he started talking to him. We could never get him to talk to him.
I
Little
rode
Hank
back
Snow
from
did, too.
Calgary, Alberta one time. Calgary, Alberta, Canada, on Simon Crumb's ticket on the airplane. When he bought a ticket for Ferlin Husky, he bought one for Simon Crumb.
I'll tell you.
Wherever he went.
Yeah.
I was on a plane with him one time, and he got on as Simon Crumb, and he'd been up most of the night, and he was wanting to sleep.
Your
And the
father
stewardess,
was with you,
my
wasn't
dad
he?
was with me. You're right, and you kind of leaned back in the seat, and you had on a sport coat, and the stewardess came down the aisle and said, "May I see your ticket?" And you reached in your pocket and handed her a king-size tube of Colgate toothpaste, and just kind of leaned back and went to sleep. Following country music's here to stay, I think, is a perfect time to get to Mel McDaniel with the song that he wrote. You wrote probably the definitive song about the Grand Ole Opry, right?
Well, I don't know, Bill, but thanks, man. Yeah.
The song that Conway recorded.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But this was before you joined the Opry. So what led you to write this?
Well, Dad always said, son, when you're looking for something, you most likely can find it in your own backyard. And I was on my way to Combine Music that morning and said, I need a song, Lord. Where am I going to find it? So I just started thinking, and by golly, there it was, and I had to pull off the side of the road. The thoughts came to me so quick, about it. And I went into Combine that morning and told Bob Morrison, a friend of mine that was writing for Bob there and everything, that I had a song started. What did he think of it? And he just jumped all over it and helped finish it, and we got the thing ready and sent it over to Conway, and he recorded it.
Now, was this prior to you having a recording contract?
Oh, yeah. I couldn't get anything. All I could do was do demos at the first there, Bill, and so I started doing some writing and trying to learn that a little bit. Got lucky enough to write with Dennis Lindy some, and we had some nice cuts. Kenny Rogers and a few others, cut some for me, but
Do the Opry song, the grandest lady of them all.
See if I can do it. She's never in the spotlight, but everybody knows she's the star. And once she shines upon you, she'll make you truly proud of where you are. She'll wipe away the pain of all the dues you've had to pay when the curtain to her world starts to unfold. With mother tender hands she will applaud and feed the hunger in your soul. And she's known as the Grand Ole Opry, where the legends come to call. grandest lady of them all. She sings its desperados, lonesome whistle of a midnight train. The coal mines of Kentucky, how it feels to be out in the rain. She sung of Texas cowboys, of hobos and of heroes, and the loneliness of wearing prison blue. But most of all, she sings about the common people just like me and you. She's known as the Grand Ole Opry, where the legends come to call. She's the queen of country music. She's the grandest lady of them all.
Oh, yeah. What a song. What a great song. Do you ever sing that on the Opry? I don't recall ever hearing
Well,
you do it.
the four guys were doing it quite a bit there for a while, and I think I've done it maybe twice is all, you know, but it was a real thrill to me. I came in off the road from working one day, and they had used it for the celebration of the Opry's birthday, and everybody was singing on it. They got me a tape of it.
I hope you sing it again soon.
Thrill, I'm telling you.
Charlie
You know,
Newman, we were talking a little while ago about your career, of course, with Ira as part of the Louvin Brothers, and then we got into a little bit about your solo career, and we did a little bit of one song, but you're certainly more than a one-song wonder. You've had a lot of big hits on your own, and one that I haven't heard in a long time I'd love to hear is See the Big Man Cry. You still do that?
Yes, I do. I've been associated with some of the world's finest songwriters.
Was it Ed Bruce that wrote this?
It was.
He wrote one of yours, I know.
The other morning I was listening to him. I don't know how often you get up early in the morning, but Ed Bruce makes people like me awful happy. He was on with, what's that guy's name in the morning? Is it Coyote? Cody.
Bill Cody.
And Cody was interviewing him, and he said he was trying his best to work Ed into talking about mamas don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys. And Ed said, well, that song made me a lot of money, and I appreciate the money, but the song that I really most proud of, and he mentioned me, and See the Big Man Cry. Because Ed had been to Nashville, and like so many other great artists have been to Nashville, and became very disenchanted with the way business is done in Nashville, you know. If you have a good song or somebody wants to add one word to it or take one word away from it and share it with you. And he just became disenchanted with Nashville and went back to Memphis selling cars. And I heard this record that he had cut on this. It was cut in New York, had, I don't know, 30 or 40 voices on it. And I really couldn't tell what he was trying to do on that. Through Pete Drake, I found Ed's telephone number and called him and said, would you bring your guitar up here and show me what you wanted that song to sound like? And he did. And it made him enough money. He moved back to town, and he's as solid as a rock here now. In fact, he invited me to go to Montana the middle of September, totally free. He said, it won't cost you even for food. Everything's paid. I said, what are you going to do? He said, we're going elk hunting. And I said, well, I appreciate it, but I couldn't shoot one if he run at me. And I said, I'll go just for the company. He said, no, anybody that goes has got to get out there and hunt. So I declined that, but I am going dove hunting with him the 5th of September out at his place. And we love Ed Bruce. He's a great man.
Great talent.
Yes, he is.
Sing the song.
I don't know if I can do this sitting down or not. I really don't know which chart that your band has. Do you have it? Do you have all of it? Is it you have all the chart? Okay. We'll try this one here. It's a if I ever had or ever will have a signature song, this is it. Carol Lee singers are going to help me. The other day I walked out on the street, happened to see a pretty young woman, a little bitty boy. And he looked back at me. See the big man cry, mama, that's what I heard him say. See the big man cry, mama, he looked like his heart will break. I followed them to a pet shop window. The little boy stopped to see. He looked up at her and said, if I had a daddy, he'd buy the puppy for me. See the big man cry, mama, that's what I heard him say. See the big man cry, mama, he looked like his heart would break. I wanted to tell him I was his dad. He sure had a pretty mom. But the judge had said I could never see them for the things I'd said and done. See the big man cry, mama, that's what I heard him say. See the big man cry, mama, he looked like his heart will break. Son, as you grow older, you'll find someone dear. Stick by her, take care of her, and you won't ever hear. See the big man cry, mama, now that's what I heard him say. See the big man cry, mama, he looked like his heart will break. Thank you, children. Well, I've got Charlie Pride's.
Mr. Leuven,
Yes, dear.
do you remember back in 1969, the first time I ever saw the Grand Ole Opry? I was 16 years old. I was standing over here by the announcer's podium.
Well, actually, I do.
I bet you do. And I was not dressed for stage, and Mr. Vito knew it. But Charlie said, son, you want to make $12? I said, yeah, what do I do? He said, well, what do you do? I said, I play bass. He said, well, I got a bass player. I said, well, I can play rhythm guitar. He said, do you know See the Big Man Cry? And I said, yeah, I know it. My sister Diane McCall was singing with him at the time. And first time I saw the Grand Ole Opry, I worked it.
Wow.
And I made my $12, and I thank you, sir.
You're quite welcome. I want to tell one quick little story about Paul Yandel and Jimmy Capps. Paul Yandel went on the road with Ari and I when Fonzie Davis from Paducah, who was a great friend of the country music people, when Chet, naturally, he wasn't going to go on the road, and he had cut all of our records, but he set out the Leuven Brothers style. We'd have been nothing without the thumb style guitar, you know. Chet had put that up front, and it had to be that way. So Fonzie said, I know a boy that if Chet Atkins ever played it, he knows it. Unfortunately, Paul had rheumatic fever, I think it was, for 2 years. He's in the bed for 2 years. And everything that Chet ever recorded, regardless of who sang it, Paul knew it. So we got him down here, and we didn't even rehearse or nothing, just went out and did a show that night. He knew everything.
Wow.
And he did that until Uncle Sam called him in the latter part of the 50s. But he felt a responsibility to find the Leuven Brothers guitar player. So Jimmy Capps was living in North Carolina and working with Tommy Hagen. And what's that other boy's name, Jimmy? Buck Jones. And they sang a lot of Leuven Brother music. And so there's another guitar player that knew Leuven Brother stuff. So Yandel called Jim, said, be in Burlington, North Carolina on a certain date, and I'll get you an audition with the Leuven Brothers. So bless his heart, he was there, and he was nervous as a cat on a tin roof. And he set his amplifier up, tuned his guitar, and everything got quiet. And Paul said, well, by devil, play one. And Jim said, well, what do you want me to play, Paul? And he said, well, pick Malaguena. And then everything got real quiet. Jim said, well, I love that song. I've heard Chet pick it, but I don't know it. I'm just a straight pick man. I don't know. Then you could just see the blood running out of Paul's head. You know, he got real white. He said, you don't know it. And I spoke up in Jim's defense, and I said, "That's okay, Jimmy. I hardly ever sing Malaguena. You want me to learn how to play it."
I'm waving this time. He told me to wave if I had something I want to say. And I am so proud that you're in the Hall of Fame.
Long overdue.
I think you're one.
I have a lot.
I know you have a lot of.
So I got to follow my friend.
I know that, and I'm just proud, not only for what you and Ira did, but for what you've done for country music. I think you're one of the finest lyric singers that's ever been. When he sings a song, you hear every word of it because he sings it from his heart, and that's what country music is all
He's got
about.
a mushy heart. He's been sitting there crying all day. That's why he sings like he does.
I want to be like you when I grow up.
There you go,
Bless
Charlie.
your pretty heart. Thank you.
While we're passing out bouquets, I'd like to pass one out to our host and the man who's kind of gluing all this together. Eddie Stubbs told me the other day that you didn't tell him this, but he found it out himself. I guess he did some research. No. Bill Anderson is the most recorded songwriter in the history of country music. You've had more of his songs recorded than any other
I didn't
writer.
know that. I bet there ain't nobody in this room that hadn't recorded a Bill Anderson song.
Sure ain't.
Well, there probably is, but to all of you who have, I thank you. Del Reeves, did you? Yeah, you did. Well, you never did put doodle doo 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 on the end of it, though.
No, that's why I didn't say it.
Well, go back and do it again and put that on there.
You just whispered it.
Yeah, no, I recorded it. If I lived here, I'd be home now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that thing.
You sure
And I did some other songs in the other albums too, as well, Bill, of yours.
I did 2 or 3 in albums.
Oh, yeah.
I know it, and I appreciate it. I know you did, everybody, and I thank y'all for that. That's why I got, when we had the Golden Voice Awards last year, the reason I got so emotional when I got up to get that award was I looked out in the crowd, and nearly everybody out there had recorded one of my songs, and that touched me, so I thank everybody. Dale, you've been way too quiet for a guy who's usually not quiet. What would Mr. Roy say about all of this?
Oh, Roy, I want you to know, I don't know who, he said he heard somebody in St. Louis, but
Dave Landers,
I went to see these two in 1954 in Stockton, California. They didn't know I was there. I was in the United States Air Force. And saw Ferlin and Gene do that. I bet they had to do it 3 or 4 times because they just kept on, the people did. It was unbelievable. And Ferlin come out and do what he done. And I'd been impersonating, I think Walter Brannon, maybe Ernest Tubb just a little bit in 1952, where he took, Montgomery Clift took his cattle, John Wayne's cattle. Red River. Walter Brannon, down under it is raining, and the hats is raining. And he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna chase him, boy." And I'm serious. Doggy's right there. He's gonna come looking for you. Yes, he is. And when he finds you, son, he's gonna fill you full of many holes. You're gonna look like a sifter. So I never forgot that. So when I seen him and everything, I said, I'm gonna start doing this because I'm still in service, but I'm planted at a nightclub all the time, People seem to love it as much as they did Ferlin that night. They must have thought of him again. And so I got with Chester Smith. Then Chester got me on Capitol Records, and of course Ferlin had come to Modesto and played 2 or 3 times. We had that park. Yeah. Well, I swear.
That was before Conduit.
Yeah, Conduit. So, if Roy was here, he'd probably say, possibly, children, I'd like to say that it is wonderful here for having you all here at this wonderful, it's Mother Church of country music, what it is. And be here and sit around and visit with you, it sure makes you wonderful. I tell you, I don't know where to just go on about, but possibly, Bill, that's about all I got to say. So we'll do Good Time Charlie's, okay? Y'all sing on the chorus. Are you all ready over there? Well, I know a place on Good Time Charlie's, a little Bo-Beach band swinging out of sight. And I'll be here if you want to party from 9 in the morning to 12 at night. 2 miles from town, cross the railroad tracks, turn right at the light, and park in the back. You're always welcome, you're free to drop in. Oh, Good Time Charlie's, anytime you care, suck it to 'em, son. I hear tell of troublemaker walking one night, never came again. They said he left with an undertaker. Oh, Charlie done time, 2 years in the pen. But the beat goes on, there's a hardwood floor, and the sound of laughter running out the door. All the old women, plenty ice cold beer, anything you're after, you'll find right here. 2 miles from town, cross the railroad tracks, turn right at the light, and park in the back. You're always welcome, don't forget to drop in. Oh, Good Time Charlie's, anytime you can, you're always welcome, don't forget to drop in. Oh, Good Time Charlie's, anytime you can.
You named your band after that song, didn't you?
Ain't no, yeah, I did. Good Time Charlie's, yeah. After that, first it was the Doodle Doos. The disc jockeys screw up that name. It was the doo-doos and everything, you know.
Speaking of Good Time Charlie, Charlie Pride, I know you're having a good time, and we're having a good time because you're here.
I really have. I'm so glad to be here. I mean, I've enjoyed myself all the while we've been sitting here. And if you want to ask me back again, just do it, because I'll be here. Heartache number 1 was when you left me. I never knew that I could hurt this way. And heartache number 2 was when you come back again. You came back but never meant to stay. Now I've got heartaches by the number, troubles by the score. Every day you love me less, each day I love you more. Now I've got heartaches by the numbers, a love that I can't win. But the day that I stop counting, that's the day my world will end. Take a little bit down. Number 3 was when you called me and said that you was coming back to stay. With a full heart I waited for your knock on the door. I waited, but you must have lost your way. Now I've got heartaches by the number, Every day you love me less, each day I love you more. Now I've got heartaches by the number, a love that I can't win. But the day that I stop counting, that's the day my world will end. Yes, the day that I stop counting, that's the day my world will end. Thank you, guys.
Great. Jan, what do you remember about that song? I mean, you were there when it was written, I gather, weren't you?
Well, actually, Harlan and I were married at the time, and Harlan worked for a company called Pacific Press that put magazines together. And I understand that he took a lot of restroom breaks, and he wrote that song on toilet tissue. And that's the way on one of his many breaks. And yeah, I was the first one to hear it and to see those lyrics. He finally transferred it to something else.
Did you do the demo on it?
I did a demo on it.
Because I knew you used to
I did a
sing
lot of
the demo
demos.
on a lot of his songs. He demoed I Fall to Pieces.
I Fall to Pieces, Pick Me Up on Your Way Down.
No charge?
I didn't. No, I lived it, but I didn't write it. I didn't do the demo on that, but a lot of them. And their first BMI award, Harlan and Buck Owens, as far as I know, was Mommy for a Day, which was recorded by Kitty Wells, and I made the demo on that. It was originally written Daddy for a Day, and they changed it to Mommy for a Day so I could do the demo. And oh yeah.
That was
Great.
back when you didn't get paid to do demos.
No, I didn't. No, I got paid, but I had to re-sign the check over to them. You know, they'd give me a check, and then I'd have to sign it back.
Talking about everybody in the room recording one of Bill's songs, I have to tell you, I finally got a song cut in Nashville. I was so excited. Connie Smith recorded one of my songs. I'm just jumping up and down. It was on the back side of a Bill Anderson.
Which one?
Called Ben and Only Ben.
Yeah.
I wrote a song called Senses, and it made me feel good when Bobby Bear was talking earlier about Chet being able to pick a good song, so maybe there's hope for it yet, you know. But I wrote this song for Fair and Young that, you know, as I like to say, I'm very proud of all of the songs I've recorded. For some reason, this was just special to me because I don't think Farron ever took me serious as anything. And when he said he was going to record this song as soon as he got back to Nashville, I didn't take him serious either. So, but this was a #1 record for Farron Young and earned me my first BMI award, and maybe some of you remember it, boys. I gotta stand here. So many times I told you I was leaving, and so many times how I tried, but saying you're leaving so much easier than leaving and saying goodbye. 'Cause every time I'd start to go, I wouldn't get 10 feet till I'd come running back like a runaway child who's afraid to cross the street. My mind might tell my lips to say it's over, but my heart would only say that's a lie. 'Cause saying you're leaving so much easier than leaving and saying goodbye. Yeah. Woo! One minute I'm all set to go, and then I change my mind. There's such a difference between leaving you and leaving you behind. I'm always saying something about leaving. Oh, but something tells me I won't even try. 'Cause saying you're leaving so much easier than leaving and saying goodbye. Than leaving and saying goodbye. Thank y'all. Thank you, Mary.
Great job. I think we all need to give a big hand to Carol Lee, Nora Lee, John Conley, and Dennis Lee over there for helping out with the background singing. Is John Conley the newest Carol Lee singer?
Yes, he is. Yes, he's tenor, bass, baritone, whatever we need today. Mortician? Mortician, they say.
Like every good family reunion, often the best stories are those told when the cameras aren't rolling. But at this family reunion, the cameras are never off. We thought you might enjoy some of these moments.
Everybody will get a copy of these, and I don't know.
Oh, is that the deal? This is the first one of these I've done, see, so. Well, shoot, that's great. So we'll end up with one of these, huh?
I was on the gospel, the bluegrass, and the country.
Oh, well, good. Yeah.
Once, and I got a card on each of those.
Oh, well, great.
Hello. What's happening? There ain't nothing happening. Nothing.
Grand Ole Opry, that's
Yeah,
what's
we just
happening.
wondered if there was assigned seating. Have you any idea?
I'd say if you put your hat on a seat, you probably
I think that's
I
about
guarantee
it.
you a seat.
Those that don't know, in August, 45 years ago in August, it had been hot right here. That's when I came here 45 years ago at the Ryman. It had been hot autographing backstage because it wasn't air conditioning in those days.
Well, you know what? You know whose dressing room was right here?
Acuff.
Roy Acuff's dressing room was right here.
Yeah.
And his air conditioner set out on that end, and it blew out the hot air out on stage. It blew cold air in his dressing room.
Pointing out over there in the area, waiting area too.
Yeah.
And that really warmed things up for us folks that didn't have a dressing room. So we went to Tootsie's.
He's the
Cool
only
off.
one that had a dressing room here. Everybody else used, there was 2 other dressing rooms, and they used those, and then the ladies were all together in one dressing room over on the other side, in the ladies' restroom.
And who are these guys? And
See
do
them?
we have security here?
Nobody needs your kind around here.
They don't.
No.
Hey, be careful, because we're going to tell stories today, and I just happen to know a couple. Do you?
I know someone.
Oh, that's right. I remember where you used to park your bus. This is scary. I love you, Sonny Osborne, more than I thought I did.
Forget that when you write your book. I'll not
Or get on camera.
I'll not forget either. How you doing, neighbor? Good to see you. Jan, did you want to get a picture with me over here?
Yes.
That's one for the record, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you. What number you get,
There's no lava tree down the road here from me. There's a lake down there too. When you go down the bend, come back again. There you jump over good old Mountain Dew. Well, they call it good old Mountain Dew. And if Daddy consider you, come here, Bobby. I'll hush up my mouth and fill up my jug with that good old Mountain Dew. Pick one. Uh-oh. Tilt. I love that. I didn't know it tilt. Miles no more, sawed off that short, measured but he feels like a giant when you give him a pint. Good old Mountain Dew, come here, Bobby. They call it an old Mountain Dew, and then that refuse it up you. I'll hush up my mug if you'll fill up my jug with that good old Mountain Dew. Now pick one. That's what I like, talent. Well, my old starter still on the hill runs on a gallon or two. The buzzards in the sky get so drunk they can't fly from smelling that good old Mountain Dew. Come here, Harold. They call it that old Mountain Dew, and their dad refused it our few. Well, I'll hush up my mug if you'll fill up my jug with that good old Mountain Dew. Oh, yeah. Ready for a bus. Thank you, guys.
Go order some.
I love it. I love singing with you guys.
Noe came out here and made a tryout for it, and Jim Denny told him he didn't have what it took.
Oh, we're gonna go back to Memphis and drive a truck, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because I was watching that movie the other day about where he was all upset that the opera didn't go well for him.
Well, it was, you know, that's how the movies is, they add and take away.
Well, that's why I asked
But
you.
he had an audition, like, with them. They may have had an audience in here, but anyhow, Jim Denny told him he didn't have what he wasn't Grand Ole Opry material.
That's what it. Okay, so that's why he was upset. We didn't get to come on then. Did you meet him, Jan?
No, I never met him. I was supposed to have met him on the 27th of August, and he died on the 17th. A friend of mine was manager of the Mid-South Coliseum, and he was doing a concert there on supposed to be on the 27th.
Right, I had tickets to that.
And he was going to introduced me to Elvis, and he died on the 17th, so I never got to meet him.
I was getting heart surgery,
Yes, sir.
and the owner of the Minnesota Twins and the equipment manager was there with me
Yes, sir.
in Minnesota where I had heart surgery. And they had a long distance call come in after the operation, and it was Vernon. Daddy called to see how I come through. Then when they was taking my stitches out, they had a little monitor on the wall when the little creeper across the bottom said Elvis Presley died. It was like less than 10 days from the time I had the operation.
Y'all doing it in G? Here today and gone tomorrow. Our love would always be a hit-and-run affair. I know you love me, but you're just a wanderer. Today I love you, but tomorrow I may not care. That's too low. For absence never makes the heart grow fonder. I get lonesome for someone's company. You're here today and gone tomorrow, and my loving you is just a fantasy. When you're gone, I wish we'd never met, for the memories remains within my heart. You're here
I think it's best we part.
For absence never makes the heart grow fonder. I get lonesome for someone's company. You're here today and gone tomorrow, and my loving you is just a fantasy.
What you looking at? You be staring. Don't you be staring over here. Staring over here.
No, jus d'orange. Yeah, the juice is backwards. Instead of saying orange juice, the jus is the juice.
Bonjour.
D'orange.
This is a bonjour, this here.
Le jus d'orange, this here.
This is a bonjour.
He's imitating a Frenchman here.
That's right. I ain't saying nothing, but I'm saying it's bonjour.
Ah, that's funny. A Frenchman is not saying nothing in French.
That's right. That's exactly right.
S'il vous plaît.
S'il vous plaît.
S'il vous plaît, if you please.
C'est a bonjour. Et c'est a bonjour.
Yeah, beaucoup bon. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup, and I'll see you a while ago.
I see you. I like that.
Yeah, I like the way they talk about it.
I was rehearsing
I got to
something.
see you a while ago.
I was rehearsing something with the band at the Opry the other night.
Did you ever count them?
And they said, "You want to change this?" And I said, "As Jimmy C. Newman say, leave it do."
Leave it do.
Leave it do.
I said, don't change nothing.
I wish I had some salt.
Which one? I take
I take the tenor. It's just straight tenor. I take the chance to lose my soul, my life, my pride. I take the chance to be with you. I tried to live my life the best I can. I prayed I'd never cheat to heed my heart's command. But dear, you know, to someone kind and true, excuse mercy, I know I'd lose it all if I were seen with you. I take the chance of causing you to doubt my love. I take the chance to be with you. You say it's so hard for me to believe. No, I'm not even. What do you mean I got bad key? I can't imagine me doing it in B. That's E. In B?
B, like boy.
Boy key, boy key.
Do it in a main key. You're doing them good. You do it in main.
Say tomorrow. That's B. Well, see, you're doing it in the octave. I can't get up there.
Can you do a low tenor to it?
Pardon? I can do tenor. Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. What are you gonna do?
Tomorrow you're going.
Where are you?
It's so hard for me to believe. I'm making plans to be lonesome.
You gotta get with us.
'Cause you're making plans to leave. The tears for me will be falling like a tree shedding its leaves.
me, this is you. I'm not doing the lead, you're doing it to miss you. I'm getting ready to agree. I'm making plans to be lonesome, 'cause you're making plans to leave.
Yeah, one more. Do that.
I'm making plans to be lonesome, 'cause you're making plans to leave. Where am I going to? You lost me. I'm sorry.
We got to get closer, don't we?
Yeah, get it closer.
This is my mainest one. 40-something years in it.
That's right.
50.
40 years or more.
Since California.
Well, that'd be over 40 years.
Yeah, right. And we're still friends. Can you imagine that?
That's a good IE from out of you.
Well,
now.
thank you. I've finally gotten that down. I used to say it wrong. I said it I or something.
John, how are you?
Good.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Do you know how you? I bet you don't know this. Do you know how you call an alligator? No. EC.
What?
I went on a Cajun swamp tour in New Orleans one time, and the tour guide took us way back off the intercoastal waterway, and he's throwing out marshmallows going, EC, EC, and then he'd get them up to the boat, and he'd feed them raw chicken. And finally, my curiosity got the best of me. I said, what does EC mean? Why do you say EC? That's Cajun French for come here. They don't understand English. And I thought he was putting me on, so I come back. The first person I see is Jimmy C. Newman, and I stop him. I said, Jimmy, how do you call an alligator? He says, EC. Are you serious? Well, that old boy wasn't lying to me.
Yeah. Right on. And they can.
Yeah, that's right. It works. I think the marshmallows had more to do with it.
Do you know something about everybody here? Do you know what's so sort of good about this? Look at everybody here, everybody to the number. And if you're here tomorrow or the next day or Thursday, you look at all that group.
Right.
Every one of them is unique.
Yeah, oh, sure.
They
exactly. have
one thing that nobody else
That's
has.
right.
That's why you're here.
That's right.
That's it.
That's exactly
And it hit me when you were up here singing, because there's nobody on earth sounds like you.
Mm-hmm.
And they may try to. Dale may try to, but they can't do that.
Yeah, right.
There's something there
Unique,
that's just
right.
very unique that nobody else can do. That's
right.
why you sell.
That's right.
And Hal's away. The Whites are like Anderson.
Everybody.
See, everybody's
You're right.
like that.
That's right.
Every one of them. Jimmy C. All of them.
And when people say, how do you get, or what does it take to make it? That's probably one
That's
of the
it.
factors.
And you
know?
can't
I mean,
you can't explain it.
No,
it's inside you.
Exactly.
And how you interpret that song.
That's right.
That's it. Unreal.
Well,
Absolutely unreal.
Great being with you.
Man.